How big can I get my heart to be?
Thought Media Network proudly presents
How much love can I get flowing out of me?
The Real Talk Sisters. Deep, unfiltered, soulful conversations with Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley, Reverend Kim Andrews, and Reverend Melinda Wood Allen.
How big can I get my heart to be?
Join us for Real Talk on Real Issues. Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Central, 1 o'clock Mountain. And now, let's join the Real Talk Sisters.
How big can I get my heart to be?
Hey.
Hey!
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
Welcome back. Those of you who stayed last week and are here again this week, welcome back. Thanks for coming.
Let's introduce ourselves again.
Yeah, my name is Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley, and I'm the Senior Minister for Harmony Spiritual Center in Fort Worth.
And I am Melinda Wood Allen. I am the Senior Minister of the Church of One Love in Dallas, Texas.
And I am Kim Andrews, Spiritual Leader at Unity Saxe out in Saxe, Texas.
Yay! All right.
So really glad to have you here today. We kind of did an introductory last week, and I think we've agreed we're going to start with a check-in. Who wants to check in first?
Yeah, check in and Well, if we start the check-in, I'm not really sure we're going to get to the things of the show because it's right.
We check in on one thing, not all of it.
Right.
Can you narrow it
Pick
down?
one. Can you pick one?
I know. Pick one thing. Pick one thing. Okay. So doing fairly good. We're our discussion today is about commitment versus self-care, and was talking with Melinda before we even got on, and Kim that there's always decisions you got to make about the things that you committed to, and so I had to do that this week with my my daughter and son-in-law who came in from California. And just kind of had to juggle the things that I committed with that they're showing up family, and they matter to me. Here with taking care of myself, with being a woman of my word, to take care of the commitments that I already had, and include them in, was being real clear about who you are and what really matters to you. So doing good, and I think I did pretty good with checking with making sure that I showed up as me this week.
You did great.
Yeah,
You did great.
yeah. So that's my check-in.
Well, the big thing for me was doing a memorial service for someone in my community who was very, very dear to me. And I've been singing, I've probably sung at 800 or 1,000 funerals, not exaggerating, in my lifetime. And officiated in definitely the 30s, but to sing and officiate for someone that I was that close to took a lot of energy. It took a lot of energy and a lot of ability to compartmentalize in the moment so that I could serve the larger purpose without cutting myself off from what my feelings were. And I'm feeling all those feelings
All the time.
And as you may know, when you're grieving one thing, all the griefs you've ever had tend to come up.
They do. They do. They do not wait.
Yeah. So that's where I've been this week. I've been crying a lot. Can you see? I've been crying a little bit, but it's good. I don't, when people say, "Oh, I tried not to cry," I would say, "Why? Why would you do that?"
Why?
Because if you need to cry, obviously if there are tears coming, that means you need to cry.
Yeah.
So do it.
They're going to come. So if you
But you can't sing and cry at the same time.
That's not going to work.
And it's difficult to speak and cry at the same time. So just learning that balancing act between allowing my feelings, but in that moment, again, commitment versus self-care. My larger commitment was to the community of people and his family, his spiritual family, who were all there together to grieve him. So it had to be not about me and my personal grief. It had to be more about theirs in that hour and a half. Yeah. And then after that, I'm just
let it go.
All I want to.
Let it go.
So that's what's up for me this week. Kim?
So I had out-of-town guests as well.
Yes.
And it was quite a challenge balancing that and the commitments that I had. And I had some pretty big ones.
Yeah.
Things going on at my center this Sunday. And so there was not a lot of sleep happening.
Out the window.
So, that went out the window. And just when I thought I had everything taken care of, I remember, oh my gosh, there's one more thing I need to do
One more thing.
for Sunday morning. One more thing I need to do for Sunday morning. And so it was tough, and it's still feeling tough because I still haven't had a really good night's sleep.
Yeah.
And for me, not having a good night's sleep impacts everything. And it's just harder to show up fully the way I like to show up. On a daily basis, at home and at work.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
It's
during
for yourself.
meetings,
It's
it's
for
just
yourself.
for myself.
Yeah.
And so it has been quite the challenge. I did finally this morning get back to my morning routine of working out. I always meditate no matter what, because that's absolutely priority one. So if I sneak anything in, it's that. But I did get back to working out, and that has chilled me out some. And it's reminded me how much I need some really good sleep. So, you know, tonight I need to get in. And I don't really know at the moment, but hopefully I don't have to be up real early tomorrow morning. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. That's what I love about making plans. I mean, you start making plans, and then that's when, you know, when they say God starts laughing. And everything just goes to. But how do you, as we're talking about commitments and self-care, how do you do that without making some sort of plan? You know, we have to have some kind of idea of where we want to go, what we want to do, who we are.
Plan and then the flexibility.
Exactly.
It's like we plan and then we respond to life as it happens.
Yeah, the older I get, the more I know I need to do that, because before I used to just have plans, and I really just needed it to go perfectly all the time, because I was in that kind of headspace, 10, 20 years ago. And so I'd have the plan, and then I would get super stressed out if things just didn't go to the letter like that. And then, after a while you get exhausted and you're like, okay, nothing goes all the time.
Life really, the reality is, it's not going to go.
So yes, the flexibility has to be there, if nowhere else but in my mind.
Right.
And
just
and
let
know
some
that
things go.
let
Just
something
some
go.
things
And if something goes, something else jumps in. Take a deep breath and figure out, how do I do this, and how do I take care of myself in the meantime?
In the meantime,
how do I take care of myself
in the meantime? And I think, part of this conversation that we're having about the commitment and self-care is being able to show up as you, and showing up as who you say you really are. And what's really important to me is, as I was talking with you guys earlier, that it's important that I am a woman of my word. I have to believe myself. So the words that I speak and the things that I say, I have to show up as that, because if I don't end up believing myself. So there's no point even making a plan, because I just said, well, you're not going to do it anyway. So why even make a plan? You're not going to do it. So the importance of me keeping my word is, for me as well as for others that I'm making a commitment to. It's being a woman of substance. A woman of substance. That's what my word means to me. But as you know, as we're talking about plans and things like that, they just don't always show up or follow through the way that you'd like them to. And so then how do we decide what can we let go? What is self-care? What is a part of the commitment? What part of that commitment? When is it okay to say, yeah, I did commit to something. I did say yes to something. I'm going to have to rethink that. When do we allow ourselves to do that? Yeah. So this is an ongoing situation. It's not just being a person of your word, being reliable, and not using, where this topic came up with. Yes. We were talking a couple of weeks ago. Actually, we were complaining. No, we don't do that. We're spiritual, but spiritually complaining. We're spiritually complaining about situations in our lives where someone has really let us down, kind of at the last minute, and for what seemed like a really flimsy excuse. Right. Like, really? But seriously? Which the person who gave the excuse perhaps called it, well, because of self-care, I'm going to do this. Because of self-care, I'm going to have a manicure today instead of doing the project that I promised you 2 months ago that you would do, that I would do, so that you could be out of town doing what you needed to do, or whatever the situation may be. I don't know if you want to share any specifics. Might get too specific with people that we know, but when people say I will be there, and then their reason for not being there is something that seems really flimsy, then it can make you angry. And then at the same time, let's use me as an example. Last year, well, I can't even remember what year it was. 2022, really, I completely overcommitted. I said yes
to too many things.
Yeah.
I said yes to way too many things. And I did them. I didn't cancel them. I kept on and I kept on and I kept on because I'm a woman of my word and I'm going to do this. And I said I was going to do it. And by Thanksgiving, I was just a puddle. I was exhausted. And what I realized was that I had kept my commitment to all these people, these conferences and these classes I was teaching and these whatever they were, flying all over the country back and forth. I had kept my commitments to those people, but I hadn't kept my commitment to my family because my family wasn't on the calendar.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
so my daughter, who doesn't live with me, she's 34, she's not a baby, says, you know, Mom, I hardly have seen you. I've hardly seen you. And when I do see you, you're so tired that I feel guilty talking to you about anything big.
Wow. Wow. And that's not what you want.
Oh,
That's not what you want.
No.
Oh my God.
So,
Wow.
So I entered 2023 with this idea of be careful what you say yes to.
Yes.
Because who do I want to say yes to the most? I want to say yes to God. I want to say yes to myself. I want to say yes to my family. I want to say yes to my community.
Yeah.
And my community means my spiritual community and my community
Right.
of friends
Right.
as well.
Mhm.
So then I can say yes to all the other things. And so trying to decide, you know, what is that? How do you sort of couch that? Is accepting a concert tour, which I love to do,
Right. Right. Is that
accepting a
selfish?
commitment to me,
Right,
is that
right.
self-care
Is that
or is
selfish?
that selfish?
Exactly.
And I think it depends upon the context.
I think so.
I think it depends upon whether I have stuff packed before it and after it.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
maybe I could look at all three things and go, okay, this one, I really do want to do the concert tour. So maybe I need to say no to this other thing.
Yes.
Or maybe I need to say no to this next thing. And, you know, I have a tendency, because it's just who I am. Once I get myself in the boiling kettle, I just commit to boiling to death. And I
Right.
think that's not always the right
No,
thing to
no,
do.
It is not.
Now, if I've made a commitment that other people are relying upon me to be
Yes.
there,
Yes.
then I will move hell and high water
Right.
to be there.
Right.
Mhm.
But this is why I need to be
Right.
more careful about making those
Right.
commitments in the
Right.
first place. So it's for me, 2023 was kind of a balancing act. And I told myself, well, I actually told myself, you're going to be really careful about saying yes this year. And what happened is there was an illness in my family that I really needed to spend a lot of time with. And so I ended up saying no to a lot of things, and even things that I had committed to. Now, when I realized the situation was going on, I gave, months notice.
Yes.
Like, I know I said I would be here. I'm not going to be able to. Here is some suggestions for what you could do.
That part.
I have some
That
people who
part.
could fill
Correct.
in for
Correct.
me if you would
Correct.
like me to do that, or if
Right.
you would like something else,
Mhm.
to try to fill in. But yeah, it's still a big learning curve for me.
Yeah.
It's still a big learning curve.
It just is, life happens. Life happens. You don't anticipate someone getting ill and you getting tired. You didn't, not getting enough sleep. You don't anticipate all, but those things happen. And now you're just dog tired. And one of the things that I quoted for myself, I keep talking about all this merchandise I'm really getting, because all these quotes that I'm saying for myself and for my life. But one of them is I'm learning to say yes to me. Yes to me, to the things that I want to do. It's okay. I want to go on tour. I want to go visit. I want to go and help some friends of mine that are doing a wonderful fundraising thing over in Thailand and visit with them at the world. I'm saying yes to me, but no for me. No for me. So it's,
Genius.
What I mean?
Yes to
To
me.
me and no for
for
me.
me.
So I don't always have to say yes. And I feel like because someone comes and says, "Oh my God, I really would love for you to da da da," I would love to be able to help with that. I really do. But you're only one person, and you're not the only person. Okay, let's just face it. I'm not the only person that could do something. So can you believe it?
I'm not irreplaceable.
Oh,
I'm not indispensable.
Shocker. So it is okay to say, I love it. I love you. I really do not have, and I can't stand this word, by the way. I don't have the bandwidth. I can't stand it.
And yet I have used it.
I have to.
And every time I do, I go, but it fits. It fits so well sometimes.
The truth, but the thing is that
Yeah.
I'm not rested enough. what it would take that I have in the background for me to be prepared for that. I don't have the time for it. And there's just only X amount of time and hours in the day and people that you have in your life that you have to commit it to. As you just said, first of all, my relationship with spirit, family, tribe, there's a whole group of people that you've all committed to, I've committed to. And so it's difficult to bring in new people. I've had someone say to me, how come I'm in your circle? Why don't we do things? Okay. All right. Good question.
I'm not being exclusive.
Good question. Good question.
Yeah.
Seriously, let's sit talk about this. Let's look at our calendar. Let's look at what we like to do together. Let's look where our times fit and see how that would work out. And we have been doing some things, not as much I think as we both would like, but some things.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
Again, just it's just all about. There's only 24 hours in a day, and we as ministers and as women, I think, want to help and we want to serve. But we have to remember to keep putting ourselves in the middle of that circle of service so that we take care of ourselves as well.
You know, in New Thought, we talk about that all the time. You know, you can't give from an empty vessel. You have to take care of yourself first.
Words.
I say those words.
Yes.
I'm good at saying those words.
Yes.
I am not so good at doing those words.
Right.
Well, it's a lot of New Thought we do. We're good at talking about it, but it's the practice.
It's the
that
practice
matters.
that matters.
It's the practice that matters.
What does the practice look like?
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
what does it look like? And it looks like saying no sometimes and feeling like a bad guy. And sometimes it says it's about saying I did commit to that. I did say yes. And unfortunately, I am not going to be able to keep that commitment. I simply can't. Here are some thoughts. Here's what I can help you with. Here's how I can try to help make it work, but I won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just have to say that.
Sometimes
and we
you
don't.
gotta say
And it doesn't feel good to say that you said something yes, but situations have turned around that you at this time it is going to be a no.
But I would say if it's tomorrow or this week, if I'm not bleeding or don't have COVID,
Right. Correct.
then yeah, we can't leave other people in the lurch too. So that's that balancing act.
Right.
I do need to take care of myself, but also what you said, being a woman of substance, taking care of myself
Yes.
is partly me showing up as the person that I want to be.
That I want to be
in my community and with the people who are depending upon me.
I think that's also a form of self-care, that we show up the way we want to be, that we are truly who we are and live by our values.
Right.
And if integrity is one of your values,
Absolutely.
then you do take care of those things. And because if I don't, then I can't look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day.
I don't like myself.
I just can't.
I don't like myself.
So I don't like to disappoint people.
I don't.
Like you said, sometimes we have to make other plans.
Yes.
And then I can say, look, here's somebody who can step in for me.
Right.
And do this, or I try my level best to do it myself.
Right.
And figure out at the same time, how am I going to take care of myself after this is over?
Exactly.
Yes.
Can I make room somewhere else?
Correct.
Because I'm probably
Correct.
pushing the envelope,
Right.
but that means I'm going to have to take care of me
Exactly.
really soon. And in fact, I talk to myself and say, okay, body, we got about 36 more hours of this.
Okay.
You tell me what you need. I'll feed you well. We're going to go through this slowly. I'm going to take lots of deep breaths.
That's great.
And then it's your time.
Would you come talk
After
to my
this is
body?
over.
I love
I
that.
will. You maybe come talk to me.
We're going to talk about this a little bit more. We're going to take a commercial break right now. And this is a really rich subject, as you can tell,
Yeah.
triggering a lot of stuff.
Yes,
So-
it does. Thank
and
you.
we'd love to see what you have to say.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back. We're back. We're
Welcome
back.
back. Welcome back.
So
Thanks for
Kim
being-
wants to share a story that we kind of brought some of this up.
Yeah, I'm finding I still need to vent about this, even though it
Okay.
happened quite a while ago. So
You know what? It takes what it takes.
it does. It takes what it
And are
takes.
you venting or are you using a teaching story for the benefit of all of us? you know.
All of the above.
Venting and.
All of the above must happen in this moment.
There you go. There you go. Fair enough.
So I had early in my ministry, I really did not take care of myself well.
Yeah. Well,
It's hard to do.
And I was really, really taking care of my spiritual community and then some.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then some. And I was definitely, I don't talk about being on the back burner. I don't even think I was on the stove.
Yeah.
So I wasn't. And finally, I realized I do. And so I asked somebody to speak for me.
You weren't taking any Sundays off?
No, I didn't. For the first 6 months, I did not take a Sunday off. Yeah.
I didn't.
And I didn't realize
You
the
did?
error of my ways
For the
until,
first year.
yeah. I think I took one off in a year. But I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
especially
You're
when you
trying
got
to
stuff
create
you want to
something.
do.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was just in there. I was in there 1,000%. And there was not a percent there for me.
Right.
And it wasn't until I started to feel really, I mean, exhausted was not the word.
Right.
Was not the word. And I thought, wow, I got to find some space here.
Yeah.
Did.
Yeah.
And said they would help out. And the day before,
To speak for you Sunday morning.
speak for me on
okay.
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, I get a phone call saying,
Right.
yes, the day before, 24 hours, saying I'm unable to do that because I have a party that we're doing
I
tonight.
forgot. Remember? You
Yes.
said, I forgot. I
That's
had a
right.
party."
She forgot she had a party and would not be able to speak for me on Sunday because she has to take care of herself. And it would be just way too much to do both, to have the
Okay.
party and then speak for me on Sunday morning.
Okay.
So, what do you say to that?
Exactly.
So
Well, what do you say? I mean,
by
they've already
the-
said they're not coming.
you already said
So
you're not coming.
What else is it to say?
And
Yeah.
I realized when you get new information, it's time to shift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
So
exactly
in the
what happened.
moment, that's what you do.
Right.
In the moment, I said,
Yeah.
thanks for letting me know.
And thanks for letting me know all of those things learned in this
Yes.
moment. Yeah.
Yes.
That part.
Some of which I would prefer not to have known.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I shifted and I thought, okay, let me take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to speak tomorrow because I thought of the people that I could come speak for me. And I think I contacted one person. They were not available. I'm asking 24 hours in
Right.
advance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Not
So,
everybody can just.
Yeah.
It was not a
Right.
good time. And so
And now you have to
I
speak from that space.
I had to
They have to
speak from that space.
space. Yeah.
So I had to deal with the disappointment
Yes.
first. And it
Yeah.
was somebody I never thought I would be disappointed.
Yes.
Right. So that was a thing. And I had
Right.
to deal with that. So then I need to figure out how am I going to take care of me at this time and then be able to show up on Sunday morning
For them.
fully
For the-
as I want to be,
Exactly.
fully
Exactly.
for my community.
For the community.
And be able to be there the way I need to be there, the way I want to be there all the
Right.
time, and then take care of me immediately.
Right.
afterwards.
Afterwards.
So I had some things that needed to be done that Saturday. None of them were for someone else, and none of them were fires that had to be put out.
Okay.
So I immediately said, okay, all of this other stuff needs to be rescheduled.
Yep.
It's got to go somewhere else on the calendar because the important thing I knew was for me to be able to show up
Absolutely.
in my
leave the-
power,
Right.
fully open, ready for Spirit to speak through me and be in the moment. And so I took some time off, took a nap,
Yeah.
did a few things around the house, made sure that I had something good to eat. I think I ordered out, had that sent in. I went to bed early. I vowed that this person would not be someone I would contact again
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
because I
you
can't
already
count on
found
them.
out.
Right.
You
I
already found
can't
the
count
truth.
on them.
You already
And
found
I
the
really
truth.
did have to reconcile this reason. I get it that we have to take care of ourselves. But when you make a commitment to somebody, I think we have to be careful about when we call in the self-care reason.
Yeah.
And so under what circumstance, what is the context for this?
Right.
And how do I move forward? So if I were the one that had the party,
Yeah.
I would have had to suck it up
Yes, and do both.
and done both.
And do both.
Do the party.
Do both.
And possibly that means my guests might have to go home a little bit earlier than I thought,
Right.
or I need to say at some point, folks, I'm so glad you came this evening, but I've got a commitment in the morning.
Yes.
Mhm.
Party on.
Yes, party on.
Party on.
But I'm going to go to bed. I
Right.
love you all. Say my goodbyes and go to bed, and then get up the next morning and do the
what
thing I
gotta do.
committed to.
Correct.
That's what I would have done.
Right.
And then I would have been really careful next time to check my schedule
Yes.
before I said
Because
yes
that
to
does
something.
happen. That does happen.
It does
that
happen.
That you
Yes.
book something out, and I'm just shocked. And we were just talking about it right now about your trip that you're taking to Ireland. Okay, Peter, you're free. It's not Mother's Day. I'm like, no, but I believe. And,
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, try to get all those
And I
mothers to
can't-
come
yes.
to Scotland.
Yeah, and so now we're shifting, and we're thinking about how to get everyone that I was going to spend time with to go with me and still spend
Yeah.
time, but do it in a different place.
Yeah.
But yes, life, particularly, I mean, if you're a fully engaged human being, you're going to have times when things are going
Yes.
to run into each other.
Yeah.
There's going to be multiple commitments you
Mhm.
want to make at once, and I'm sorry, unless you serialize the commitments, you're not going to be able to do those. They generally hit all at the same time on the same day, same time.
Mhm.
It's difficult to do, and you have to make that decision. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I've double booked things. And generally what I do is defer to the first commitment I made.
yes,
And
Yes.
follow through
Yes.
with that. And then, sometimes you got to fall on your sword and say, I'm very sorry.
I messed up.
And I'll try to, if it's something that needs to be done at that time, then I will try to find somebody who can do it. But sometimes you just have to say, I'm sorry. I messed up.
I messed up.
And usually, if you've double booked something, that means you haven't been taking really good
That's
care.
right.
You're not paying attention.
You're not paying
you haven't
attention.
taken good
Right.
care of yourself.
Right.
And this is something that came up. We were talking about it at Big Sky Retreat
Yeah.
22,
Okay.
which was one of the commitments I made that overcommitted me for the year.
Right, I remember that.
But I realized that some of the commitments that I said yes to,
Yeah.
I said yes because I wanted to prove, oh yeah, I can do this.
I can do it.
I can do that.
To yourself.
I can do that.
Right.
To myself,
yourself,
to the world,
others,
whatever.
Correct.
And some of the commitments I made were because I absolutely knew in myself, that's who I am. That's my service to the world. That's
Yes.
what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And suddenly I just got this really clear, so if I am doing something because it's who I am, that is in service to me and to the world.
Yes.
If I am doing something because I feel in some way that I need to prove to myself or someone else that I can do something, then that perhaps isn't in service
Yeah.
to myself in the world.
Yes.
And I need to take a look at that.
Right.
And
That's what the
that
work
is-
needs
that
to
has
be done. The
been
work-
for this last year and a half. I've had this in my head. Am I being who I am, or am I proving who I am?
Ooh.
And if I
nice.
can, if I
Nice.
can go, oh no, this is definitely a call of my heart. This
Right.
is me being who I am,
Right.
showing up
Right.
as who I am in service, because serving is what I want to do.
Exactly. It's who
Yeah.
you are. And the question becomes, because I love that thing about proving it to who?
Well,
Proving
exactly.
to who? Because you already know who you are. So, hopefully.
If we take care of ourselves.
Okay, very good.
If
very
we take
good.
care of
Very
ourselves.
good.
And so I think self-awareness comes from taking care of ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it is hard to be self-aware when you're just going. And
There's no time.
Checking
There's no
off the
time.
things on your to-do list, not taking time for yourself, not getting rest, not having time for renewal, for prayer, meditation,
Which feels,
whatever it
that
is.
feels selfish.
Yes.
I'm sorry, as women, and I don't want to stereotype, but as women, we just feel like
Yeah.
we got to do everything and be everything for everybody. And then, but we don't put ourselves in the middle of that circle. Where are you being and doing for you?
Yeah.
We don't get to do that. And so we don't, we feel like it's selfish. Like, oh, no, I don't. I was talking with my sister the other day, and I was revealing to her a conversation I had with my daughter about something I had done as a mom. We as a parent, you make mistakes. Can you believe that? We make mistakes. So I was
Ask my daughter.
Okay.
She'll tell you.
Yeah. So I was recalling a mistake that I had made and with my daughter some years ago, and I realized that my own mother had made a similar mistake and had never talked to me about it. And I still remember at this age, which I'm not going to share my age. So I thought, I'm going to go ahead and talk to my daughter about this. And so she did remember, and to be able to talk with her and to say, I honestly don't even know what I was thinking. I don't know where my head was at, because the fact is, the truth is, who I know myself to be is someone who loves you unconditionally. She was, and still is my heart.
Mhm.
There's nothing greater than no one matters more.
You light up when you talk about it.
Oh my God. My God. And to have done something where she felt like she said to me, I don't know whether you love me or not. What? What? So how was I showing up? How was I showing up? Well, she did not know. But she did not know what was going on with me. What time was I not taking with her or for myself to show up the way who I am and what she needed? What goes on there? So these are, I don't know. These are just
So there's the self-forgiveness.
okay.
Because we when we know better, we do better. Maya Angelou said, if we
I
know
love
better,
it.
we'd have done
I love
better.
it.
And now that we know better, we can do better.
Exactly.
So we forgive ourselves for our past mistakes, but we learn going forward. And we have to be that self-aware, that examination of what was going on in my life at that time.
Right.
That allowed me to be that unpresent from a situation
Right.
that I did not realize that I had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so then we let that inform us going forward. And it's not just the forgiveness. It's not just the informing you going forward. If you can do something about it,
right.
Go
Do
talk
it.
to her. It doesn't matter
Do
if it
it.
was 15 years ago.
Exactly.
Go talk to her.
Do it.
Mhm.
And it was
do
right
it.
on her heart. As soon as I brought it up, I said, I don't know if you remember this trip. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember.
She remembered it right off the top. And I mean, just years ago.
Yeah.
And we cried. We talked about it. It was a beautiful thing. I guess my point about that is simply you're always learning. You're always growing. You're always coming to a better understanding of who you are, who you want to be,
Mhm.
and how you're actually showing up. If you're actually showing up in that way.
Mm-hmm.
It was a shock to me that I wasn't showing up as love for the person I love the most.
Because we think of ourselves as, of course I do. Of
Yes,
course I
of
love
course.
her.
Of
Duh.
course, doesn't everybody knows this,
Yeah.
but except for her.
But am I showing up in that way?
Exactly.
Am I
Yeah.
showing up as who I
Exactly.
know myself to be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So I want to bring up another story that
Yeah.
my face may turn red as I even tell it. So occasionally the three of us, it's part of our self-care is that we get together and we spend some time together.
do.
So actually doing this show is like us getting together on a
It
weekly
is.
basis
It is.
instead of once every
Therapy.
3 weeks or months or whatever. But we had made an appointment to meet for lunch and spend some time talking about this program. And it had been like, we got all our three calendars together and it was like, okay, 3 Thursdays from now at 2:30 in the afternoon at this particular place. And we all agreed to it. And then I didn't show up. I saw later in the day on my text, you okay? We're waiting on you. And I'm still tearing up right now.
Yeah.
I had an immediate like shame attack. Like, how could I forget that? How did that even happen? It wasn't that I didn't want to. It wasn't that I
Not at all.
looked at it and went,
Not at all.
yeah, I can't do that today. Too
No.
busy. It just
Gone. It
didn't-
was gone.
It was gone.
It was just gone.
It was gone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
being kind to myself, I was dealing with the serious illness of a loved one and having to move house because it was important to get this loved one in a 1-story rather than a 2-story house as quickly as possible. And still doing my full-time job and taking over more responsibility in the business that I co-own
Right.
with my family member because he needed to spend less time in there. It was like, there was a lot.
And dealing with an
It was
illness
a
yourself.
perfect storm.
Mhm.
And I
And dealing with your own illness.
it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. And I have been in ill There we go. Okay. I guess we're back. Are we back?
Well, let's just keep talking
Okay.
as if we are. You're in the show.
Well, so I was really emotional when the picture went out a little while ago. So like just a minute, I'm going to get my tears
Get
Yeah.
it back.
But in telling the story, I didn't show up, and I understood that it was an indication of how I wasn't taking care of myself. There was too much on me,
Yes.
but I didn't know how to do any different from what I was doing.
Yeah.
I felt like I was just hanging on by my fingernails, and I kind of was. And so it was, I called them, I texted them, I said, how can you forgive me that I just completely forgot you? And the message I got back was from both of you in different words, perhaps, but yeah, there's nothing. First of all, you're already forgiven. Second of all, there was nothing to forgive. So, well, that just took the wind out of my sails. I was getting ready to kowtow down. I was like, okay. And it still took me a while.
Yeah.
It took me a while to take that in.
Yeah.
To take that in, that there's nothing to be forgiven. Because, and here's the thing,
Yes.
we all, well, maybe not all, maybe not
No,
that
we
one
all.
woman, judge ourselves much more harshly
We
than
do.
other people judge us.
We do.
We have a
really
tendency
do.
to do that.
I think particularly people who have strong have integrity standards, want to be women of substance.
Yeah.
We judge ourselves because we're trying
Mhm.
so hard to
Mhm.
show up, and we're being very intentional and purposeful about showing up as we say we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're hard on that. Did you show up like you said? Who is this showing up? Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I agree with that. We do.
And here's a beautiful thing about having sister friends.
Yes.
And about this tribe that the three of us are in together is that PJ and I already knew that.
Yes.
Because we're so tuned into each other, because we do talk, because we do share our hearts.
Yeah.
As it got 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, we're sitting there waiting for you. We're going over and say, oh yeah, they're moving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Melinda hasn't been feeling well. Oh yeah, there's a whole lot going on.
Yes.
Yes. And we know that you want to be with us when we get together.
Exactly.
And that's why there was nothing to forgive.
Nothing.
So here we're like, okay, well, let's check in with her, see if everything's okay.
What
What
can
can
we
we
do?
do?
How can
Do
we
we
help?
need to get in the car? Do we need to go to
Yes.
your house right then and there because
Right.
you're in need of us in
Right.
that moment?
That is exactly
And
what happened.
so we were like,
Yeah.
okay.
And if somebody had been in the hospital, you would have.
Yeah.
No
Yes.
doubt of that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
That's absolutely.
Absolutely. And so I think what part of my work this year that I promised myself, and I have been doing so far in just these 16 days, is giving myself more grace
Mm,
and stop judging myself as harshly.
that part.
And
part.
and my other thing for 2024 is just slowing down,
Mm.
because the faster I move, the less I am aware of what's happening and what kind of stuff I'm getting myself into.
Yes.
But I've
I like
slowed down everything. I've slowed down
Mm.
washing my face, getting ready in the morning, putting things together, giving
Yeah.
myself more time to get to a place, which you wouldn't have known today as I showed up at 1:35 p.m. and we're going on air in 25 minutes. And as I was on my way here, I was already thinking about how do I not get this crazy the next time we get together and
Absolutely.
have a show and I have a meeting beforehand.
Yeah.
Because I said, okay, this can't happen again because I need to take care of myself better. I need to show up for you too
Exactly.
better than I
completely,
did today.
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I was already thinking, all right, this went in the ditch, not that far, and I don't have to do this again
Right. Right.
because I need to take care of myself better.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were talking
Slowing
before before you came about the about our list. We have too many things on
Yes.
the list.
Slow it down.
List? Why do we even have these lists of things that we?
So we don't forget.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah, there is that.
You must
But we
have
just
a
keep
list.
you. And the thing is that I have this list because I have these notes and I make this little list. I never actually look at them. They're just the reason why I actually write them is so I can get them out of my head, so I can stop
Oh, yeah.
thinking about them.
There's
so
that.
just write them down somewhere so that I can move on.
Mhm,
And generally I'll come back and say, okay, you did that. So it's already on your mind. You're going to, because we are people of our word. We're going to do what we say. But the idea of having a list of so many things causes stress for me. I have a long list. Do you know my list for November, December is still on my wall? Like it fell off. I should have thrown it away. I tacked it back up because I wanted to check and make sure that I did everything that was on the list. It's crazy.
Here in January.
Yes.
Here in
Looking at
January,
November,
I'm
December.
looking at November and December, and I because the reason why we talk about this is just thinking about how you look at your list and say what happens first, what happens second,
Yeah,
how to prioritize the
Mhm,
list.
mhm.
And so because family is all, but it's huge. It's at the top of my list. And so my daughter is in town, just to see the game, the boys. She's all the way from California. I'm definitely going to take the 30-minute ride to Arlington to see them.
Yes.
And then they missed the plane, but on the way back. So now I'm opening my home for them to come and spend some time with me. So while they're trying to, get another ride out. And so she said, well, yeah, but then the other things that you committed to, you still did, right? And I said, yeah, I did.
That other people were dependent
That-
upon,
okay.
or that were, there was more than just you
Correct.
involved. You
correct,
still showed up for those things, but the other things
correct.
that weren't essential.
Exactly. So to the wayside. So there were some things like I wanted to check and make sure the camera is going to work. And there was just some other little things that I wanted to do. I let that go to make sure that what's the most important thing to me, family, tribe, my commitments, that gets taken care of. So in between talking with my daughters, giving them dinner, making sure that they were taken care of, I still have my board meeting. I still had my coaching calls. I still had all of those things.
Mhm.
So I guess what I'm saying is that it's really important that we know that what we're committing to is important to us, because no matter what happens,
Yes.
we're going to have to juggle things.
Yeah.
Things are going to come up. Life comes up. An ice storm happens. We can't get where we want to go. We can't. Things happen.
Mhm.
That we're completely out of control. So then, what are we going to juggle? What are we going to juggle? What are we going to
Well,
let
it's
go?
about priorities. So it's about knowing what your priorities are.
Exactly.
And if you're moving too fast,
Yes.
there's no time to
Exactly.
figure out what the priorities
That's
are.
right.
And-
When you're moving too fast, you tend to do the thing that's right here.
Right here in front
Whether
of
it's the most important thing or not, that's what's there.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And then it's easy. That's what I was doing.
Right.
Is I was, I've got to get this move. I got to get this. I got to
Right.
call these people. I got to get the insurance. I got to get the who knows where I was
all
that
the
day.
things.
All
the things,
those
all the
places.
things.
But I was not going, how best do I take care of myself today? And that's really important for me today.
Mhm.
And I'm not faulting myself, because I
No,
did
no,
the best
I
I could.
don't hear that.
That's the way it was.
But we are
But-
learning from our experiences.
Woo.
We are learning. We are
But yeah.
learning, because I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a place where I feel like I'm just running from pillar to post, and in the running from pillar to post, not really taking care of the things that matter.
Yeah.
The things that
Mhm.
matter. So if I have to run to pillar to post, I've got to let some things go. I want to make sure that in the middle of that, take care of me, so I'm not running myself raggedy. I don't feel bad about that. And I'm taking care of the things that I say I value. I value the fact that I'm going to show up on Sunday morning like I said I'm going to do. I'm going to show up as I said I'm going to do. That I'm going to that when my kids come to town, or the people that matter to me, I'm going to make a space. I'm not going to drop everything, but I'm going to make a space,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
And we can only make a space if we have some space, if we leave some space, if we hold some space.
Mentally,
Mentally,
physically,
physically,
emotionally,
spiritually.
spiritually.
So if we're
Yes.
always,
Yes.
sometimes this is it. That's the way the day is.
yes,
But if we are every day getting
Yes.
to the very, hitting our limit,
yeah.
then when something does go wrong, there's no space. There's no
space.
room.
There's no space.
So we have to go, this is my capacity,
but I'm not.
but
going
I'm
there.
going to stop. I'm going
Not
to,
going
in my plans, I'm going to stop here
Yeah.
Mhm.
because stuff's going to happen.
Right.
And if nothing happens and it's like, oh, I got extra
Okay,
time today,
that's
maybe
good.
I'll get something else done off my list.
Correct.
Or something happens and I take a nap,
What?
What a concept.
right? Like, oh, I have extra time today. Maybe I don't have to fill up every single second.
Yeah, maybe not.
And I am never upset when somebody cancels. I used to. And because I think, okay, I really want to get that done, and we were supposed to meet and all this other stuff. Now I figure, man, I get maybe
Thank
an
you,
hour.
God.
Maybe I get an hour. So when people
Okay, it's saying it's. I don't know if we're still on or not.
It says
Here
you
we
are
are.
back.
Okay.
You're in the show. So
We're
what
gonna
I
have
was
to
getting
get an
ready to tell you.
internet connection.
Yeah, I was going to tell you this story about this thing that I'm watching. It's a little video, and it's these three women, they're friends, and they're just getting ready to get together. They are so excited. They're going out to dinner, whatever. And one of the women calls and says, I'm sorry, it's just something that's come up. My husband, whatever it is, I'm not going to be able to make it. Just you have a great time, and I'll catch up. And they said, okay. And so they each. The two that are remaining call each other and said, "Oh, so Barb can't make it," and they're both taking their clothes off, just taking. So what do you think? She would? Well, we could still do it, but it was really. And I was like, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, so we're just gonna breather. It's an unexpected breather, and we can take the breath.
absolutely.
We can take the breath. Don't feel that.
Yeah.
Take the breath.
I have another minister friend that says, who shall remain nameless on this program, but who says a lot of times people in his community say, I know how busy you are. I know you're too busy. I know how busy you are. And he said, sometimes I'm not that busy, but that's none of their business.
Exactly.
It gives me some space.
Some space. Because you are in fact busy. You're not maxed out. Hopefully you're not maxed out. But maxed out and busy are two different things. Yeah. And we are busy. There's just a number of things that are on our minds. And it's not just about what we're doing right now. Right? It's not just about we're always planning for the future. I'm always thinking about, I know that you two are too, what's next? What's next for ourselves individually, for our family, but for our community.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't just happen. That has to be planned. It has to be, other people have to be brought in. So now we've got to nurture someone else to bring them up, right? To what it is that we can see that they're going to be capable of doing.
Yeah,
so
every year when my board does their evaluation of me, which I instated, they didn't used to do that. I was like, no, I have to evaluate the employees and you have to evaluate me. Every year, one of the things is you don't delegate enough. You should delegate more. We're here, tell us to do things. And that's
okay,
one
be
of
careful
the
what
things
you
that
ask
happens.
for.
But it's one of those things that happens is I have to examine my need to have things be the way I want them.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
I have to examine my idea that I could do it better. And it's not necessarily better. It's just more in line with the way I know that. Exactly. All that stuff. So I have to examine that stuff and I have to make space. And sometimes that means making space for someone to do something not the way I would do it.
Exactly.
And letting that be okay.
Yeah. It's going to be that way.
That be okay.
Exactly.
And and if I never do that, then I never create enough of a void for the universe to come in with grace. That grace that you're talking about.
Plus,
I'm still learning that.
Oh my God! Plus, it's how is someone else's gift going to be revealed if you don't let them get it?
Yeah.
Right. And so I really feel
you're better about it. You're better at it than I am.
I love it because I really feel like people have hidden talents and gifts. In fact, my talk was about this on Sunday. People have hidden talents and gifts. And the moment I actually had someone tell me one time that they really don't like saying, they don't like me coming and saying, how are you doing? And I said, what? Yeah, because you really are asking the question. You're really asking the question.
I don't feel like I can just say fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I really don't feel like I can do that. And so I really feel like that whole thing that we talk about with New Thought, I behold the Christ in you, I behold God in you. I actually do see God in you. So I'm looking at what's the God trying to come out, and who am I to try and stop that? So I'm going to let God do what God does. Yeah, do your thing. Let's see what happens. I'm good with it.
That's called trust.
It's
called
faith. Learning that.
I'm learning that too. She's getting that down. We are learning that. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
God.
More often now too, I look ahead
Yeah.
a few days to see where I left space for myself.
Yeah.
And thank goodness now I have this great app that I'm using that puts my tasks and my appointments
Do
all
share.
in one place. And it'll tell me you've got an hour and 15 minutes between tasks. Do you want to leave it like that, or do you want to schedule something?
The name of that app would be?
Structured.
Wow.
Because
I'm gonna go back and
before
look at it.
I had
Structured.
to check my calendar, and then I'd
All
go
the
back to the
time.
list of things. And now I build both around each other. And there are plenty of days where I say, yeah, I need that half hour. Yes, I need time for a lunch where I can sit down at my
Yeah.
table and have a good meal. Because usually for the first 2-3 years of ministry, I was eating on the fly.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
Because we
always
don't
ate in the
make
car.
time for those
Yeah.
little, the before and
I
after.
didn't make time
the
for
before and
lunch,
after moments.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
Exactly.
driving
Showering.
and eating a Subway sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff all over the place. I got napkins from here all the way down to my knees.
Exactly.
And of course, something happens. You turn the corner,
And
stuff's
boom,
falling this
yes.
way, that way.
Yeah.
So I thought, how come I'm not giving myself a meal?
Right. What's going on here?
Even if it's half an hour. So yeah, now I realize that, yes, I need time to get dressed. I need time to have breakfast. Then I can truly show up as the woman I am, as the woman I want to be in that moment for that particular circumstance.
Exactly.
And it makes
Fully.
a huge
Yeah,
difference
fully.
to have some space. So I'll now look ahead and say, look at that. Why do I have 6 things? I got 12 hours. I got a 12-hour day.
Yeah.
I'm heading towards. And if I can move something, I do. If not, then I say, okay, I'm not doing that
Then-
again.
Right.
Yeah.
We're learning.
And where
Right.
can I take some out tomorrow?
Yes.
Right.
Because
Yes.
I know I'm gonna. wear
Because
myself
after
out
that
today.
12 hours,
Yeah.
I'm going to need some downtime.
I
And
love it.
something's going to
I
have to
love
give.
that.
And so it's a learning experience. And I know that this, we talk about balance all the time and that there is none. But I think we can have it, but we just got to be really aware. We got to make time. We got to build in what I call like fluff time, where I can do nothing or do
Yes.
something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
And
I
not
get to
feel guilty
choose
about
and
it.
not feel guilty.
And not feel
Yeah.
guilty about it. That
I
is
used
the
to have
thing.
guilt.
Oh, my stars.
For the most part, over that.
Yeah.
I'm over the
Yeah.
guilt.
Because you know what? You do work hard. I
I
don't
do.
need to
I
feel
do.
guilty about the times that I'm not actually doing something that seems concrete or whatever.
Mhm.
This is doing something.
Mhm.
This me time is doing something. It's doing enough.
One of the things I have learned that I need on a regular basis, I don't always get it every week, but at least every couple weeks, I need a day to putter.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And that
I agree.
means-
I concur.
It's not really a day off because I'm usually doing something all day.
Right.
I'm doing all the little things
Yes.
that you don't think to schedule.
Because they're just little things.
Because
I'm
they're
just
just
gonna catch
little
up in the
things
5
here
minutes
and
here,
there.
5 minutes there.
Yes.
Right.
And I have found, and my
That's
husband
great.
makes it like, I thought you were gonna take the day off. No,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing this and you're doing this. And I said, yeah, but I'm doing what I want to
Right.
when I want to.
Right.
So it's still
So
a day
there's-
off.
Yeah.
Unless
Unless it doesn't
it's-
happen, it don't happen.
Unless, sometimes I get a little obsessed on something and then I drive myself crazy, but that's a completely other show.
A whole
So
other
we'll
show.
do that. We'll talk about Melinda's obsessions later. But this doing a little bit of this and doing a little bit of that is time for me. I have a sense of accomplishment that some things are now that were looming are not now looming.
Yeah.
I have a
Mhm.
sense of
Yes.
I'm doing it on my time. I'm doing it when I want to and not when I don't want to. I'm
Yeah.
eating when I want to. I'm playing music while I do it.
Mhm.
I'm doing all that kind of stuff. So I have learned that I need a putter day. And that's the
great.
only day that those just little
Little things, yeah.
unnameable
Yes.
tasks will get done.
Yeah.
That's
Like
great.
screwing in that place in the door that keeps it from closing, right away.
Exactly.
Just screwing in that hinge
Yeah, right.
that every time he's like, I gotta do that, but I'm on my way somewhere. Just those little, literally those
Yeah.
little bitty things.
Yeah. It's. Oh my God! Just.
So we want to hear from you. If you want to put something in the chat, or you can always send an email to realtalksisters@gmail.com.
Thank you for doing that.
And tell us if if you want to comment on something we've said, if you want to suggest a topic for a future show,
Mhm.
if you want to tell me that I looked extra good today, you can do
Or
that.
extra crazy.
Or
Either
extra
way,
crazy.
like,
Whatever.
what's going on, girlfriend?
Whatever.
What
or if
happened?
you noticed the little kitty cat on my leggings and you just wanted to say, I love your little black cat on your leggings. Whatever. No, I'm sorry. We're being very silly, but really we want to hear back from you. That our idea was that we share and that you get something from us sharing,
Yeah.
but come on, come on into the circle.
Our tagline is join the conversation.
Yeah,
We simply
join the
want to have
conversation.
and I think we talked about this when we introduced it. We could never say it enough. Is that this is so fantastic. This sister sharing, this group that we have, And I just don't think enough women have that. In fact, I'm getting ready to start a class at the community college here that is just a class for women. And this is exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm going to set it up so that we feel comfortable just spending an hour once a week. Once a week, just sharing what we need to share, whatever that is. I'm not trying, there's no objective other than that. We may get some things going about, deciding what your values are, where you might want to go, but that's going to be weeks into the thing. I just want people to just have a place to do exactly this. So one of the things we wanted to do was to say, for you all to join this conversation. We're talking and we're sharing some stuff, but we really would love to hear from you what your thoughts are on the conversations we're having, things you might want to add to it, things you agree with, that you don't agree with, or that we might have missed, or other parts of, or that it led to a different conversation.
Things you're struggling with. Yes,
anything. So please feel like you're a part of this sisterhood, because that is exactly how we feel about it. Or brotherhood, however, brothers, sisters, or anyone. Everybody come on in.
Yeah.
And so this is what this was meant to be, a place where we could just all share and talk and have a place.
Because we're not talking about anything that's just for women.
No, we're not.
Everything we talk about is about humans.
We just happen to be
about
women,
humans.
the three of us, but we're not. It's not limited to women. So please do that. We invite you to share join the conversation. Really
so y'all have anything you want to share? I want to share something.
Please do.
So one of the things that I had to reschedule when my life went crazy last year is I was supposed to lead a tour of Sacred Scotland this spring of 2024. But the time when the final decision had to be made was about October, November, right at the point where I stood y'all up. Moving house. I was doing doctor's appointments, taking my husband to infusions, and all this kind of stuff happened. And I had to make the decision, can you commit to this in the spring? Or do you, because at that time I didn't really know what was going to happen. So I made the decision, rather than try to kill myself to finish filling the tour, to say, no, we're just going to put it off till the next year. So 2025, May 15th through 25th of 2025, I am hosting a tour of Sacred Scotland. There will be music. There will be, we'll be visiting very ancient burial cairns and cathedrals and druid things. And just, so this will be like some ceremony and some music. It's happening in 25. Did I say 24?
So that's, I was looking at 24 when I was looking at my schedule. So we haven't scheduled 25 yet.
Yes, 25.
Great.
25.
Great.
So if I said 2024, I was wrong. 2024 was when we were supposed to go.
We're going at 25. Okay.
But it's been rescheduled to May 15th through 25th of 2025. So if you're interested, go to tracelesstours.com and look for Melinda's tour.
Spell that out again.
Traceless, as in leaving not a trace. TRACELESS tours.com.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. I don't have anything going on except for classes locally. So if you're in the Fort Worth area, TCC South, come take a look at the class. Or you just give me a call, shout out at Real Sisters
at gmail.com. Real Talk Sisters at Gmail.
What is our email?
Real Talk Sisters at gmail.com.
Oh my gosh, they're crazy. How do I even fit into this?
Okay, I think we're out of time, y'all. It's 3:00. So let's just say goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
See you next week.